Welcome everyone to Super Sunday. We're very happy this morning to have our honored guest, His Holiness Guru Prasad Swami, who is a longtime advocate, lifetime advocate of book distribution, and he's also now the chairman of the GBC Executive Committee, which is no small task. And voting with his feet, today he's here despite the fact that he has duties to do that would break an ordinary person like me in half. He decided to come here to advocate for the current marathon. Also noteworthy today, we have His Grace Brahma Muhurta Prabhu, who has joined the call. He's been one of the most dedicated persons behind the scenes, producing books in multiple languages. Multiple means in dozens and dozens, perhaps in the hundreds, painstakingly over many, many decades. He's one of the trustees and directors of the BBT, and one of the most knowledgeable people on the planet about the publishing process, the history of the BBT, and so forth. We're very glad to have him. We also have, as I can scan the screen, many of the top leaders from around the world, from various regions. So today, just very briefly, we're engaged in our last meeting before the sprint to the end, all the way up to January 7th, which is when we close the Live to Give Marathon, and it's sealed, so you have till that time. We are very much aware of the fact that devotees are working very hard to gather their communities together and inspire others. Pledges matter. When you make a pledge, as we've said before, your pledge is your wedge. Once you decide on a number for your community, it motivates the whole community to have a clear goal. It's something Śrīla Prabhupāda said to one of his managers, who was one of the fledgling GBCs in our movement back in the very, very early days, that you should always create a fresh challenge for the devotees so that they will want to rise up and meet it. And having the courage to set a goal, make a pledge and say, we're going to do this, plant a flag, then everyone will rise to the occasion. And they'll also realize that they're not doing it. It's Lord Chaitanya doing it to fulfill their desire to please him. This year's Live to Give motto is make earth smart again. Prabhupada writes in the second canto of the Śrīmad Bhāgavatam that the Bhagavad-gītā is the Vedic intelligence. That appears in the purport to Śrīmad Bhāgavatam 2.235. I've always appreciated that. What if you were able to have the Vedic intelligence in your hand and then be able to harmonize your mind and intelligence with that? What would your life be like? Well, it would be a lot better. And what if the whole world had a clearer idea that there's a Supreme Personality of Godhead, and that he's the ultimate goal of life? We should be humble. We should work together. These concepts are not so far away, or they're not unintelligible for the human being. Human beings, if they get the right information, can reform themselves. We can reform the earth. We can reform the planet. So this is an attempt to systemically change the whole world as representatives of the disciplic succession, and we have a direct order from Śrīla Prabhupāda to carry this forward. So now we're going to hear from actually the person who has the duty, and he takes it very seriously, but he's very, very humble. He's taken on the lion's share of work, of anxieties for the whole movement, but here he is today. His Holiness Guru Prasad Swami has come to speak to us for a little while and just give us some insight about how we should be thinking as a movement for this marathon, Live to Give, distributing at least 4.2 million Bhagavad-gītas worldwide. Maharaj, we're so grateful that you joined us today. We thank you very much, and please give us any of your thoughts or realizations.
Thank you very much. All glory to Śrīla Prabhupāda, all glories to the assembled Vaishnavas, and all glories to book distribution. Of course, most of this year, I've been here in India, and I've been especially meditating a lot on verses that Śrīla Prabhupāda wrote in his purports from about Adi Lila 9 to 9:30 to 44, where Śrīla Prabhupada speaks about the importance of Indians going out and establishing, Krishna consciousness all over the world. And in one of those purports, he says that India is the proper place where human civilization can be developed. So I've been a little focused on India, but trying to focus on the whole world, I revert back to Vaisesika Prabhu, who in the last few years has especially been emphasizing team. That sometimes when there's an individual competition, persons who are not maybe so expert or have not been so capable of distributing large quantities of books become a little intimidated by others who are better at it. But when we work as a team, we're supporting one another. So I've been trying to really emphasize this teamwork mentality on every level. There's the maybe small group Sankirtan team, then there's the temple team, then there may be the yatra team, the national team, and ultimately the world team. So, and then maybe the universal team. We don't know how many planets on how many planets there are people distributing Śrīla Prabhupāda's books, and maybe fire books and water books. And so this teamwork principle is so important, that because everyone is included, no one is excluded. So such an important thing. And I want to offer my respects and gratitude to Vaisesika Prabhu for really, really bringing this concept into focus. One thing that just expanding a little bit on what Vaisesika Prabhu said about intelligence, developing spiritual intelligence, or having that intelligence in our hands and giving intelligence to others. Usually, if you try to advise someone or give them some type of knowledge, if they're not your student, they're not in that position, then people take offense to it. But Śrīla Prabhupada, being the empowered acharya, in the form of his books, we can give people intelligence. We can give people divya gyan hridi prakashito, that the illuminating the heart with transcendental knowledge. And because of Śrīla Prabhupāda's extreme potency and at the same time extreme humility, they actually can receive this intelligence. So it was very nice that in the verse that I spoke on today in the Śrīmad Bhāgavatam, it's the prayers of the demigods, but before the prayers begin, in second chapter of the 10th canto, there's a few verses where Krishna enters into the mind of Vasudeva and then into the heart of Devaki. And that's the particular verse that I was speaking on today, where it says that that knowledge within the heart of Devaki was just like not someone having knowledge and not giving it to others. Like a pot that is on a fire, but the fire is contained under the pot, so you can't see it. So in the same way, no one could see, because she was in the prison house, no one could see Krishna's effulgence, which was, overpowering her. No one could see it. And then Śrīla Prabhupada in his purport, this is called Jnana Kala, which actually means cheating cheating knowledge. Otherwise, if you don't give knowledge to others, just like Prahlad Maharaj, he's lamenting that there are saintly persons who are that they're very fixed up, but they're only interested in their own selves, swakama. They're interested in their own spirituality. And Prahlad Maharaj says, Naitam Bihaya Kripana Vivamuksho Eko. He says that even though we see the people, they're so much in ignorance, they're kripanas, meaning they want everything for themselves. I cannot be a kripana and having this knowledge of the Supreme Personality of Godhead and not giving it to others. I cannot do that and look for my own liberation. So then Śrīla Prabhupāda in his purport, he speaks about the importance of giving knowledge to others. So I was very happy that purport appeared in the class today, and having this opportunity to speak to so many wonderful Vaishnavas, because that's actually what we're doing. If we simply learn Krishna consciousness and we don't give it to others, and Śrīla Prabhupada referred to the purport, referred to the verse, Jati Deka Tarikaha Krishnu Padesh Amara Gyaya Guru Hanya Taredesh. So I just went over the purport of that verse, and Śrīla Prabhupada in the beginning says, one can simply stay at home and be comfortable, chant Hare Krishna, follow the principles. And so it seemed like in most of the purport that Śrīla Prabhupada is, wait a minute, how are we going to distribute this to others if everyone's sitting at home? But in the last line, Śrīla Prabhupada says, that you should cultivate this knowledge and you must give it to others. So that last line supported what Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is saying to Kurma Brahman, that be responsible. And otherwise, because most people in our congregation, most people in our movement are at home. So Śrīla Prabhupada was appealing to them. You're at home, be comfortable. Meaning, how can you be comfortable in this material world? It's a miserable place. Dukkhalayam ashashvatam. We always have an itch here, a pain there, some problem, financial problem, social problem, political problem. But so I was meditating, how you can actually be comfortable at home is to have Śrīla Prabhupāda's books, because they bring comfort to the consciousness, comfort to the mind, because they inform us, Bhaktaram Yagatapasam Sarvalokam Suriram Sarvabhutanam. We're so fortunate. We can offer everything to Krishna. We understand everything belongs to Krishna, and Krishna is our best friend. So this is the real comfort. And how do you sustain that comfort? By giving it to others. And it becomes, I remember, in my brahmachari days, living in the temple and going out and distributing books, the greatest satisfaction I felt was when somebody I gave a book to came to the temple and said, oh, you gave me this book? Actually, I remember I met one devotee like 20 years after I opened the temple in Panama. He said, oh, you gave me that book 20 years ago. I met him in Vrindavan. And, it was such a satisfaction. So what I've been doing lately is encouraging devotees to get as many contacts as possible. And don't give them over to somebody. Cultivate them. Give them that personal touch. Whenever it's a rainy day, whenever it's, you're a little tired physically, then start calling these people and connect them with Śrīla Prabhupada by giving them, because we have, as far as I remember, in 2025, we have the goal of 100,000 Bhagavatam sets. So one of the ways I've conceived of um, distributing so many Bhagavatam sets is get in touch with these people. You've already touched their heart. If you were able to give them a book, it means you touched their heart. Otherwise, if you can't touch their heart, they probably won't take the book. So uh, if you just get in, say, please give me a call. Here's my contact, or let me give you a call if you can give me your contact. I just want to ask you, what did you think about this book? And take that opportunity. Don't let them go until they have a set of Bhagavatam and ultimately Chaitanya Charitamrita and ultimately all of Śrīla Prabhupāda's books. And with that personal touch, and especially for congregational members, if you go out and distribute a book a day, as Vaisesika Prabhu is recommending, but even if you can't do a book a day, do a book a week. But make sure that out of those 52 books that you distribute minimum, you convince 2 people to do the same. And that way we can double book distribution. And then you get the contact of each one of those people. And you, by preaching to them, you become a preacher and you'll be forced to read Prabhupada's books more because you have to answer their questions. So book distribution is so well-rounded that it makes us study Prabhupada's books more. It turns us into a preacher. It fulfills Lord Chaitanya's order that anyone we meet and everywhere we go, we should give Krishna consciousness. And by giving a book a day or minimum a book a week, we can revolutionize this whole world. So anyway, I was meditating. I've been also recommending this everywhere I go, that everyone at least do 1 book a week, because some people are very busy. And out of those 52 people, make sure at least 2 of them do the same. And mathematically, I studied mathematics, so mathematically speaking, we can double book distribution if we do this. It just takes a lot of determination on the part of the leaders to make sure that we push this book distribution. And we make sure we keep tabs on people. How are you doing? Have you distributed your book? Have you distributed your book a day? And we give that personal touch all the way down the parampara, from the leaders in the temples, the leaders in the zone, all the way to the individual congregational member, and keep them connected. And in that way, we can use the power of our congregation to expand book distribution exponentially. So these are some thoughts that I wanted to share with all of you stalwart Vaishnavas while I'm dealing with all kinds of little problems here and there, everywhere. And just by, of course, reading Prabhupada's books, all the problems go away, but sometimes we forget about that. So I have to try to remind them. And in the meantime, deal with the problem. So, so anyway, Vaisheshika Prabhu was asking here, I did distribute a book today. Actually, the other day, by Krishna's mercy, I was able to convince someone to distribute 30,000 Bhagavad-gītās. No, he paid for 30,000 Bhagavad-gītās. So I was very happy about that. That in the midst of all this chairmanship, I was able to do a little Sankirtan. And another one, 2,500 books. So I've tried to do my little grain of participation in the marathon this time. But next year, when I'm not the chairman, Punar Mushika Bhava, I can return to being a VIP, very insignificant person, and I can really go out in the marathon and support the devotees here in Delhi or wherever I am. So thank you. Thank you very much, all of you, for giving me this opportunity. I have to leave for Vrindavan tomorrow morning at 4:30, and it's at 9 o'clock at night for me. So I won't be able to stay on and hear get realizations from Brahma Muhurta Prabhu, one of my heroes, fully dedicated to book. Every time I see him, I see books, and just reminds me of our primal duty, seeing Vaisesika Prabhu, Brahma Muhurta Prabhu in one slide is like fulfilling my inspiration to distribute more books. So thank you all very much for tolerating me and for inspiring me to do what we should all be doing, which is to distribute Śrīla Prabhupāda's books. Śrīla Prabhupada ki jai.
Maharaj, before you sign off,
Yes.
we're deeply grateful for you taking your valuable time so late at night to join us. It's it's the top executive branch representative coming here to advocate for book distribution. And we have a tradition that for our honored speaker who comes, we'd like to just show you the maps really quick. It'll take you about 3 minutes. We want to show you what the world looks like right now, just so you have an overview. And a disclaimer, I wasn't asking you if you distributed your book today. I was just paraphrasing. That's why I was saying what you were saying, and I put it in quotation marks.
I took it as Prabhupada speaking through you to me.
Well, Prabhupada's definitely speaking through you. So, Shamahini, can we go to, is this where we're starting on the slides or at the very beginning?
We can start.
Seems to be somewhere in the middle, and if you're a speed reader, you can look at everything backwards. So our motto this year is make Earth smart again. It speaks for itself. And it would be helpful if people had some guidance from Krishna, wouldn't it? Our goal, just keep moving, is 4.2. Keep moving. No, not that fast. I'll give you prompts. Whoever's running the slideshow, just listen to my voice and try to intuit when to move. Go back, please. Our goal this year is a global goal of 4.2 million Bhagavad-gītas. It's keeping track with coming to at least 5 million by 2026. Now means go. So 517, I don't know what that means. Oh, for Paschatya Desh, thank you very much. We've divided India and the rest of the world we're calling Paschatya Desh. And so we have this clear goal for this year, for 2024, for Paschatya Desh to achieve the distribution of at least 517,000 to keep current with their part of the globe. And going to the bar graph on the next slide, this is the progression that is current. And in staying with that this year, we're looking for achieving at least 4.2 million. And that's leading to our 5-year goal of getting to 2026 at 5 million. And the next graph you have to look at a little carefully because it shows the Live to Give score change from 2020 to 2023 by region. You see at the bottom Africa, then you have Europe, Far East, Middle East, North America, South Africa, India, Oceania. It just shows how they're progressing in general. And the next is a pie graph. This is just Paschatya Desh. It doesn't include India, but you can see by region the proportion that each area is achieving. And then we're coming to the individuals. This is Oceania. Their pledge for 2024 is 30,421. And the next slide, it gives an overview of what their ideal pledge should be and what they should achieve would be 39,000. So they're at about 30,000 pledged now. If they can squeak out another 9,000 for the region, that would keep them on track for the goal of 5 million that we're achieving globally in 2026. The next map we have is Europe. And right now the pledge is at 55,500. And the next shows the bar graph again, that they should be at 90K for 2024. So a little work to be done there in the last couple of weeks, with the caveat that oftentimes and most of the time devotees smash their pledge and go above it. So we're looking for 90K from Europe. Then we come to North America, and you can just see their pledge here at 234,332 so far. And the bar graph will then reveal what their ideal would be 259K. So a little extension there would be helpful. We're coming to Africa, and their pledge now is 10,501. Ideal pledge would be 23K. And you can see on the far right, the 2024, the difference between the two colors means what they need to shoot for in order to stay on track for Paschati Desh. Then we have South America. Their pledge is at 4,510. And ideally, they should be at 4.6. They only have a little tiny sliver to make up there, so that's encouraging. Now we're coming over to the Far East. Their pledge right now is 58,200. And ideally, it would be 103K. So Maharaj's plan to double it could be helpful over there. And here we look at the whole Paschati Desh in general. Our pledge is at 393,000 collectively. And ideally, for us to keep pace, we should be at 517,000 for 2024. Bhagavad-gītas are easy to distribute. Everyone loves them. They're much easier than Bhagavatams to sell. So everyone can pull out the stops in the last part. Here's India, Maharaj. It's divided into 4 regions as per the managers and leaders there who we're working with very closely. And we look at the next slide, which shows us that for 2024, their pledge so far is at 3.07, but we're looking for a 4.8. I did hear some extra information this morning, Shamahini, that their pledges are a little higher than us on the map. Can you comment, please, on the update?
Actually, the pledges are 4.8 million, and they were the projected pledge was 3.7, so they're 130%.
Are you telling me that I've been reading all of them backwards? Or
No, just with
I
this
say
one.
it's the color is inverted.
Yes,
So,
no, the color is the same. It's just that they're higher than what their pledge was supposed to be.
okay, so they're above their pledge, Maharaj. You're
Yes.
having your effect by just being there, overseeing. Can have a happy journey to wherever you're going next. And here's
I think
the.
it's in spite of me. I think it's in spite of me, but anyway.
Well, I mean, we're looking at the evidence, and you're there, and it's happening. So I think that we're going to have to expose you to more of the world from now on. And the last map we can look at is the whole globe. As Maharaj mentioned, we're one global team. We're all working together for this result. And at the top of the screen, this is the current pledges we have for the world. That's for 2024. Our projection or our aim is to reach 5 million by 2026. If everyone fulfills their pledges, then this year, technically, we would have arrived a little early at our goal and smashed the 5 million mark, which, by the way, just as a last point, seemed inconceivable several years ago when we were talking about 1 million books and then 2 million books, everyone was aghast and said, how could that be done? And as Maharaj mentioned, it can be done by the mercy of the Sri Guru Parampara and by teamwork. And there you have it. And we thank you very much, Guru Prasad Swami, for gracing us with your presence today. We're all very deeply indebted to you for the painstaking work you're doing on behalf of Śrīla Prabhupāda, helping us keep our movement together. Sorry for the laudatory words. I know it burns your ears, but facts are the facts. Vanchakalptaruscha kripasindhubheva patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo.
Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Vijay. Safe journeys.
Thank you very
Brahma
much.
Muhurta Prabhu, we have multiple speakers today lined up. And if you could speak for 2 minutes, just some inspiration, literally like 120 seconds, that would inspire us. And then we can move on to all the other leaders who want to report from their zones. Please.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Observation says Haribol. I've been wondering for years, especially when I joined, I thought the world is getting so everything is so bad. Why is Krishna not coming? Personally, I was wondering very often. A few days ago, we read a purport by Śrīla Prabhupāda, where Prabhupada says, the Hare Krishna movement is Krishna directly. And I realized, Krishna is already here.
For me to go to
Sorry? Oh, Krishna is already here. He's here in the form of the movement and in the form of book distribution. So thank you so much for the inspiration, Vaisesika Prabhu and everybody else who is here, for your input, for your work, for your dedication, and for cooperating together for Śrīla Prabhupada. Today something, I just came to the temple room for this little gathering, and I met a man here.
Hello.
Anmol showed up in the temple room and he said, I want to distribute Bhagavad-gītas. I have never met him before. You're from Uppsala, right?
Yes.
Originally from Delhi, and he is now buying, I don't know how many, a few boxes of Bhagavad-gītas and distributing to the people in Uppsala. So here, one idea, one thought is, and I think Vaisesika Prabhu has very often mentioned that we should always, wherever we go, we should have a book on us. At least a small Bhagavad-gītā or a small book or something. Always have, when we go to a grocery store or when we go to the gas station, we should always have a book on us. That is, make it easier, this one book per day distribution. In the back here is Dharmaharmya Prabhu, our head pujari. He's distributing the books whenever he has a little time. He goes out in Sweden. And here's Govinda Hari Prabhu from Hungary, who just was in the north of Sweden, and the very, very cold north of Sweden, distributing, what did he distribute? Gītas also?
Bhagavad-gītas, yeah.
Swedish
Few
and
hundreds.
English. Hare Krishna. So there's nothing better than book distribution. For us, it's making the books and distributing the books. There's nothing better to do with one's life than helping Śrīla Prabhupada spread the Krishna consciousness movement. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Brahma Muhurta Prabhu.
Every day a festival.
Thank you for making books available to all of us all over the world.
Yeah, we just shipped a huge container, a 40-foot container. The devotees in the UK, they wanted coming backs. So we tried to print them and it just didn't work out. But the Gītas, which were supposed to come later, they were ready earlier. So now the devotees in the UK, they don't have coming backs. They have a huge container, and it already arrived, of Bhagavad-gītas. So Krishna has his hand in there. So I feel a little humbled with this ridiculous number of 280 Gītas in Sweden. I don't know. This is just. I'm sure that we're gonna, we will distribute more than 280 Gītas in this year. It's crazy, 280. I'm sure we have already done much more, but we're not so good in the reporting in Sweden. But yes, Gītas, we have a lot of Bhagavad-gītas. We're gonna get a few thousand here in Sweden in a few days. So, Hare Krishna.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Brahma Muhurta Prabhu. And now we're swinging over to Africa. Tirumala Devi Dasi, who has been a stalwart there, in supporting the distribution, the reporting, the marketing. There's nothing she doesn't have a skill for, and we're very happy to have you here. Please go ahead.
Hare Krishna, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Śrīla Prabhupāda. So we've just put a few slides together for today's presentation. So our total pledge is 10,501 Bhagavad-gītās. The devotees have been putting a lot of effort into the campaign. I'm going to start with, if you just go to the next slide, I'll start with Mauritius. So Mauritius, the target is 3,000 Bhagavad-gītās. And at the moment, the current score is just above 1,680. It is an estimate because, of course, we don't have scores from all of the centers that are participating. So it's just an estimate, but that takes them to just over 50%. Devotees also traveled to Rodriguez Island and they did some book distribution there. 50 Gitas were distributed and that was over 4 days. And then the picture that you see is actually a graduation ceremony at a school. And so all of the parents were given Bhagavad-gītās at the ceremony. Okay, shall we go to the next slide? Yeah, so this is actually some pictures from Rodriguez Island. Okay, and then the next slide is Zambia. So the current score is about 250, and it's basically 50% of their target. The campaign is basically divided into 2 parts. The first part is to encourage devotees to buy or donate Bhagavad-gītās. And then the second part is to emphasize the importance of reading Bhagavad-gītā. So reading programs are being arranged throughout Zambia. 131 of those 250 Bhagavad-gītās that have been distributed were actually donations. And those donations, those Bhagavad-gītās, have been distributed in schools and libraries across Zambia. And then we can swing over to so this is South Africa. So again, I don't have updates from each of the regions. So the current estimate is 500, but I think that's quite light in terms of what's actually gone out. So of course, we're running campaigns across the various major provinces. There is a huge focus on sponsorships. And I just want to touch a little bit on the Gita Jayanti programs that were celebrated in South Africa. So there was quite a huge focus on obviously distribution of Bhagavad-gītā as part of the festivities. I want to make special mention of ISKCON Lenasia. The devotees distributed 54 Bhagavad-gītās on the day of Gita Jayanti. And why I specifically want to mention them is because last year for this campaign, they distributed 33 Bhagavad-gītās, and that was across the entire marathon. So it just goes to show that, they put so much into the program and into distribution on that particular day. So, I mean, they almost doubled what they did across the entire campaign in just one day. And then if you go to the next slide, so this is ISKCON, this is the Sri Radhanath temple in Durban. And as you can see, there's a huge poster of, the Bhagavad-gītā, just to bring just to highlight the Bhagavad-gītā. Okay, and then we can go to the next slide. Just some pictures of some distribution going on. Also want to mention, on the day of Gita Jayanti, the devotees in Durban distribute 307 Bhagavad-gītās on the day. And those, there were 36 participants. And then if we go to West Africa, so they're currently at around 30 Bhagavad-gītās. Again, it's just an estimate. They do regular book distribution, and they've been distributing Bhagavad-gītās as well quite regularly. This picture is from a special event. It was at a police college field. It was a Rotary Club festival, and one of the ambassadors invited the devotees, and so they used that as an opportunity to distribute books, of course, and 27 Bhagavad-gītās went out on that day. So there is a lot going on. This is Kenya, sorry. So this is under the leadership of Dwarika Vasini Mataji. And as you can see, she does a lot of book distribution and training of the younger generation and getting them involved as well. So that's our update. There is a lot going on. We do have a lot more to do to get to our goal, but the devotees are really working very hard.
Jai, thank you for the comprehensive report from Africa. And just as we're hearing from various speakers, one of the tasks of book distribution is to get pledges and to get the reports. And we're finding that the more we get the pledges, the more we get the reports, the more book distribution increases because it's very measurable. And the more we take responsibility for that, the more devotees know where they are and what they're shooting for. And that's one of the main inspiration points. What an excellent report. And I love we all loved, I'm sure, the pictures, seeing those on the beach and in various festivals, receiving them. Now we're moving over to Latin America. Everyone, do your best to keep everything concise. So we have a lot of speakers today, and present freely whatever you have, but just keep it short. Nrsimha Kripa Prabhu from Latin America, please go ahead. Tell us how it's going there on your huge continent.
Please accept my humble obeisances. Hare Krishna, everyone. Here, first of all, I would like to thank, ISKCON Silicon Valley is helping us, Latin America, with some donations of books, and we are doing some campaigns in 2 per 1, two boxes at the price of one. One is the box that coming from Silicon Valley, and the other is the box coming from us. And that is having a great effect. Many devotees are buying them, and as I told once, we are trying to switch our chip, our idea that the only great Mahasankirtan devotees, Maharatis, are the only devotees that can distribute books. We are trying to enthuse the population of devotees, the congregation, to do them by themselves. You can just go with the photos without waiting me to say. We have like many photos, and then you can just go in to them. Yeah, and devotees are going outside and distributing the books. Very happy to participate. We want to make them feel like they are part of a great mission as congregation, not only, as I told before, not just Sankirtan devotees that are accustomed to that. So we are doing well. We did this just 4,000 books pledge because we have not many Bhagavad-gītās, but I'm sure that the next year we will do much more. And I want to tell you just one thing. It's related. Is I am professor in high school, and I asked the students, please bring a book for have an extra point, just to have bring a book and read a book. And they and something that is very interesting is like I have something like more or less like 400 students in different groups, and I think like 7 or 8 students brought a Śrīla Prabhupāda book. That's a very interesting thing, and I liked a lot. That's just something that I want to share with you. So yes, we are working on that, and thank you all of you for your inspiration and for the support of being together in this great mission. Hare Krishna.
Jai Nrsimha Kripa Prabhu, fantastic report, very enlivening. Now we're going over to Russia. We have His Holiness Ambarishi Swami, who will tell us how things are looking over there.
Hare Krishna, please accept my humble obeisances. Russia is very fired up also with Gita distribution. Short story from Gita Jayanti. One Mataji, she decided to call her friend. He is like a very high posted officer in the Russian army. And early morning on Gita Jayanti, she made a phone call to this colonel and she asked, "Do you want to help us to distribute the Gitas?" He said, "Yes, of course." "Will you bring Gitas today?" She said, "Yes, I will bring you a lot of Gitas today." So she went exactly to the headquarters of Russian army in the center of Moscow with the boxes of the Gitas. And this colonel, he was immediately distributing to all the generals, and it was very ecstatic. Some devotees, they are going out on the streets and distributing the Gitas. Also, we are distributing Gitas on the Sunday programs. And so devotees are very inspired to distribute the Bhagavad-gītā. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much, Maharaj. That image will linger in our minds and hearts. It's another piece of evidence of how Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu makes arrangements for those who just make the attempt to distribute Bhagavad-gītas. And we're so enlivened to hear from you in Russia. Thank you for being such a stalwart. Hare Krishna. And now we're coming over to America, Nandini Kishori, the hardest working devotee in the movement. She never sleeps. And some kind of yogini, constantly contacting everybody everywhere in America to help them with their goals and to make their pledges. Please go ahead, Nandini Kishori.
Dandavat Pranam, Jai Śrīla Prabhupāda. Thank you so much, Vaisesika Prabhu, for your inspiration. You are the driving force. So for America, Rochester and Baltimore temples have already reached their goals, 290 and 17,000 respectively on Gita Jayanti. And there's a lot of new interest within America in little free libraries, hospices, and Motel Gita. And so we were able to call few devotees on Motel Gita, give them training, and we will do the little free library as much information we can pass on, and hospices. The enthusiasm in North America is really nice to learn and train newcomers. And I want to welcome Kathy and James from D-Land, Nagendra Kanya from Albany and husband, Shreyakari Mataji from Schenectady, New York, Shamala Gopika Govindapriya from Richmond, Manohar Prabhu from Minneapolis, Patit Pavan Prabhu from Greater Cleveland, Govardhan Prabhu from San Diego, to our groups and to our regular updates. So all the congregation feels enlivened and we can multiply our book distribution. So thank you to the newcomers. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Nandini Kishori. And it's one of the ways in which we're realizing more capacity around the world is when we make personal contact, as Nandini Kishori does. She calls each person directly. Then more and more centers, communities want to be involved because they know there's a person behind it who is supporting them. And so everyone can look out for this. It's not just each center doing more every year, but it's finding more communities that want to be involved. And our philosophy is everyone doing their level best, even a little bit from each place ends up with a huge result because we're all working together. So here we are now, moving over to Canada. Anuttama Prabhu is another exemplar of this very personal approach. He goes directly in person, not just by phone, but to every single center in Canada every year to meet the Sankirtan leaders and do due diligence to inspire them and find out what their pledges are. Tell us how it's going in Canada this year, Anuttama Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Vaisesika Prabhu. Thank you for having me here. As you had mentioned, and by your personal example, take books wherever you go. So I was able to distribute myself an Ishopanishad at an airport and also a Bhagavad-gītā at my workplace visiting a client. So it's very daring to do that. But I'm most importantly, I'm inspired by all the devotees across Canada. Last week, I went door to door with the Toronto Sankirtan team, personally with Shamamoyini Mataji, and we were knocking on doors for people who are not expecting us to come through there and distribute lots of Bhagavad-gītas with the Toronto Sankirtan team. And I also visited Vancouver all the way on our west coast, and to the Shastra Dan program. I told them that I'm just the servant of the Sankirtan leaders, so they gave me 3 boxes of Bhagavad-gītas through Shastra Dan to distribute in 3 new hospitals on Vancouver Island. So that was very much a very fun experience in meeting all the devotees. And we have a lot more centers that are going to participate in Live to Give. We've already been at 100% participation, but we have new towns and villages that have ISKCON centers and devotees. So Grand Prairie, Alberta being one of them. And we also have 2 of our cities that are getting their own physical temples. And as Vaiseshika Prabhu, you mentioned that the Sankirtan is the main business and activity of the temple. So by having a permanent temple and those centers being more into Sankirtan, I'm expecting more growth in book distribution for many years to come there. So that's just a brief synopsis, but we've been doing lots of energy around book distribution this year, especially, and lots of good practices going around.
Thank you, Anuttama Prabhu, for being fully absorbed and helping other people to stay on track. We know the increases that are coming every year in Canada are in part due to your due diligence. And thank you for the stories of going out door to door, distributing, as you said, to people who weren't expecting any company. That's Lord Chaitanya's program, Jeev Jago. Now I have a great pleasure of introducing for a few minutes Malini Devi Dasi. She's the co-Sankirtan leader of America's leading book distribution center in ISKCON Silicon Valley, and now is actually about number 4 and 5 in the world. Tell us what's working and what you're thinking and what's happening over there. Malini Devi Dasi, anything the devotees can take away for their marathons.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, please accept my humble obeisances on Guru Prabhupada. Here at ISV, we are inching towards our goal by all your prayers. I just wanted to share that what's really working here in this week that we are focusing on is that we have one team. We are going out to different stores to collect the donations for sponsorships for Bhagavad-gītā. And there is one team who is going out to different stores and empowering the store owners to become book distributors. So just wanted to share one story from yesterday that I went to an Indian store and I found a colleague there. And I already distributed a Bhagavatam set earlier, so I didn't want to seem like I'm always asking for something. So I just greeted and said, "Oh, thank you. Nice to see you." And he said, "What are you helping?" I said, "Yes, I'm helping here." And then I just left him with a good impression, didn't ask anything. And he shopped for the groceries. On his way out, he came to the table and asked, "So what are you doing today?" And then I started my pitch and I explained that we are collecting donations for the Bhagavad-gītā placements. And then he said, "Count me in for 2 cases of Bhagavad-gītā." So he sponsored 2 cases of Bhagavad-gītā at the table. And we also went out last week to distribute those sponsored cases of Bhagavad-gītās. And we went to a store, which was a Buddhist store. She was, I think she sells she has some massage center or something like that. And she had a big altar of Buddha there. And she had so many Buddhas in her store, and each Buddha had some water placed there, and she had some fruits offered to Buddha. And so we told, yes, see in the Bhagavad-gītā, Patram Pushpam Phalam Toyam, you offer a fruit, a flower, and a leaf. And then she said, and also an incense. And she was so happy and she said that I will distribute 1 case of Bhagavad-gītā. Please give a case of Bhagavad-gītā here at the store. So we are seeing that people are so happy to help in this campaign of distributing Bhagavad-gītās. So we collect donations for the Bhagavad-gītās and we empower other people to distribute them. That's it for now. And traveling Sankirtan is also going out really well, Prabhu. Thank you very much.
What's the last thing you said? Traveling Sankirtan. Yeah, it's just
Yes,
noteworthy that these are grahastas going to various cities. They fly in there together, usually 2 or 3 families. They get an Airbnb and they'll stay together for a few days, a week, and they go to various cities around America. And it's been very successful, and the devotees come back very happy. Sometimes they take their children with them and everything like that. So TSKP is alive and well, and it's not just for brahmacharis. Right, Malini?
Yes, Prabhu, we have one team of grihasthas going from 21st December to the end of the year. Like children of age, like 3 or 4 also are going in that.
Okay. Sankirtan in diapers. So I'd like to make a final point about distributing Farsi and Arabic books. Prabhupada had given special benediction to one of the devotee who's dedicated his life to this aspect of Arabic Farsi books, that he said to whomever distributes books to these in these languages, for them I take the dust from that devotee's feet and I put it on my head. Prabhupada emphasized so deeply and was so impressed with that. So we have Farsi, we have Arabic books. You actually get more points for them. Not that that's our main emphasis, but just as a side note. And the other point is that people are so appreciative when you show them their language. And it's a way of bringing the world together, sharing the knowledge from the Bhagavad-gītā. There are many pious people who are part of Islam. In fact, we met a whole apartment full of people from Afghanistan. And it was one of the most enlivening experiences we ever had, going door to door. And they were all Muslim, part of Islam, but they were so receptive to Bhagavad-gītā and very happy that we were doing something for God. So it's important to remember these different languages and make an emphasis for Arabic and Farsi books. Have them on your list. There's 23 days to go until January 7th. That's 23. I recommend getting a countdown timer or a calendar for your temple so they have this sense of it being time-bound. And do your little bit. Everything counts because we're one world team. Make sure you take a pledge. Don't miss the opportunity, because as soon as you make the pledge, then Lord Chaitanya shows up in your life and helps you. And this is a winning team we're on, and this is it. Nobody else is flying in from another planet right now. It's all us. So we can take this to heart, that Prabhupada has given us this service personally, and that whatever we do is what's going to get done. So feel free to just pray hard and do the best you can. And any of the devotees who have spoken today, I'm sure if you want to contact them, you can get in touch with our office. Shamahini will put our link up on the chat, and we can connect you with anybody from any part of the world. If you need anything, if you need promotional materials or information or support, please contact us. We're open 24/7 until January 7th, and then we're going to take a nap, and then we'll be ready again for the next iteration of book distribution marathons. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Brahma Muhurta Prabhu. Thank you to all the exalted devotees who joined today. We're going to end with a new song and video that is Sweeping the Nation by Bhakti Shrikar.
They walk through the world, searching for meaning, for purpose throughout. So many doubts, yeah. Strolling down Wall Street, caught in the chase, chasing the cash but missing the grace, feeling the pressure, losing their way, stumbling through life, never enough day after day. Then comes her hand with the Gita so bright, the spark of renewal, igniting the light. Live together. Bolo. Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare merciful. His words are here to stay. Uplift us every day. In the Gita, true wisdom unfolds. So many answers that transform our soul. Quelling the heartache, clearing the mind, changing our world from mundane to divine. Then comes the hand with the Gita so bright, the spark of renewal, igniting the light. Live together. Bolo Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Dear Śrīla Prabhupāda, dear Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Shri Shri Panchatattva, Shri Shri Radha Madan Mohan, Shri Shri Radha Govinda, Shri Shri Radha Gopinath, Shri Shri Lakshmi Nrsingadev. If you so desire, please empower us to work together in a spirit of cooperation to please your lordships, and please help us to have the courage to set goals and to smash them together in the service of Śrīla Prabhupada. Please let us smash all our goals for 2024.
Hare Krishna.
Everyone agrees with this prayer in whole or in part. Please unmute and say Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Vaishnavaya Namo Namaha. Jai. Hari Hari
Prema, you're
Bol.
back. Do huge.
Yeah,
Hare
we are
Krishna.
back. Hari Bol.